Hey, what's up, bro? I can talk goodly. What's up, everybody? It's me, Tim. I'm back. So it's been crazy. Um, some of you might have heard rumors that I had a birthday. Yes, I am officially older. I'm beyond old. I'm much older at this point. Anyway, those of you who reached out, commented on my birthday VCLT from Bill, thank you so much. Um, it Coming from an old curmudgeon like me, it warmed my heart. So, um, looking over my videos recently, I realized I haven't done a proper vinyl finds video or what collection update or whatever you want to call it, whatever anybody wants to call it. I got some records that I bought and I listened to and I dug and I want to share them with you guys. But here's the fun part. Pretty much they're all blocked, so no needle drops tonight. But I am spinning something in the background anyway, because that's what I do. This is the Queen herself. God bless Miss Aretha Franklin. This is her greatest hits on Atlantic. And I'm dedicating this one with a shout out to Eve, Miss Lady Soul. She's real close to 200 subscribers. So I'm going to leave a link in the description. Please, if you're not familiar with her, go give her some love. Let's support these channels that are close to these great milestones. Let's get them over the hump. So, Eve, we've got some VCLT from Bo and Hannah. And there was the Queen herself spinning this one for you. All right, so I have got so many records that I've cleaned and ready to spin. I've got a stack over here that I bought. I can kind of. Well, I'm horrible tonight. Apparently, it's my first day with a new mouth and it hasn't been activated yet. I got a huge stack over here of stuff I just recently picked up, so I need to get cracking. So here we go. So I apologize, don't be any needle drops, but I'm going to do my best to kind of make it somewhat entertaining. So we'll kick it off with this fun little ditty. This is Rainbow Folly. Yes, and it's crazily misspelled. This was released in 1968 on Parlophone. This was a Record Store Day reissue, I believe, from this past year in the UK. And found it at a great price. It is on really funky colored splattered vinyl on the Parlophone label. Guys, if I'm talking like this, I swear I haven't been drinking. So this is like a mix between sunshine pop and psychedelia. Pretty good stuff. They did have one single off of this one, Driving My Car, which is not the Lennon McCartney song. They just didn't garnish enough interest in the band, so they did this and they kind of fizzled. Apparently they reunited in 2015 into the second album. I have not heard it. This one's actually pretty decent. So insound.com has this for $11.99. So if you can find this online to sample it and you like it, go check them out. Worthy of picking up if you're into pop psych. Picked this one up a little bit ago. It's not in the best of shape. Cover's got some water damage, but played okay. And that's Something Else from the Kinks. This is their fifth album. This is the last one before Ray Davies took the helm of producing the albums, and we know where that went. So good stuff. I actually didn't have a lot of Kinks. You can see it's the tricolor reprise label. Like I said, it's the cover. Seen a little bit of better days, but I am quite happy with it. Good spin on this one. This is in stereo. Would have been cool to get a mono, but beggars can't be choosers. Waterloo Sunsets on this one. There's another single I thought from this one. If I'm staring at it, it ain't coming at me. So definitely glad to add that one to the collection. Brother Bill, paying attention? Have your attention? It's a black cup. Oh, you already saw it. That's right. This is Genesis' debut record, released in 1969 from Genesis to Revelation. So this one's actually a little different sounding from where the band would obviously go. No Phil Collins on this one, no Steve Hackett, but Tony Banks, Mike Rutherford are there, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel's there. This is more of like their earlier demos that they just kind of put out. As you can see, it's even on the London label, which I want to say even right after this they got signed to Charisma, so this was their one and done shot on London. If you're expecting classic Genesis prog, it's not it. It's an interesting album. I'm glad to have it. I don't know if I would go to it often, but like I said, I wasn't mad at spinning it. I was really happy to find it at a great price. I think memory serves me correctly, I got it in a collection. And like I said, it was an enjoyable listen. I would pull it from time to time, but it's not going to be a go-to album. So if you're not a completist, you probably don't need it. Next one is Hubert Laws. This one is Land of Passion from 1979. Jazz flutist, and I think he also plays saxophone at times. This one, I'm familiar with more of his CTI work. He did a lot of session work, even with people with like Freddie Hubbard and Ron Carter. I mean, he's literally has bounced around a ton as a session player, but on his own as a leader, I'm more familiar with some of the work he did with the CTI label. I saw this one at a thrift store. It was like $1 or $2. I mean, it wasn't much. So I was like, I gave it a shot. I kind of expected a little bit more fusion, which is what I kind of got when it was instrumental. When it was vocal, it was definitely more of the soul jazz, which I don't necessarily hate, but I'm very picky when it comes to vocal jazz. And this one either had some moments I really would have mind not listening to, versus a couple instrumental pieces that I really enjoyed. So worthy of $1 or $2 if you're a fan, but kind of skippable for me. Next one, what do you need to say about Steely Dan, right? We all know how they got their name. Let's keep it clean, kids. Obviously the big hit on Gal Show is Hey 19. This was the big follow-up after Aja. I mean, what do you do at that point? And they kind of changed the sound a little bit, but still a great album. I mean, those years from Steely Dan, I can't give them up. I mean, nothing really more needs to be said about Steely Dan. Just a fantastic band. Great use of space on this album, but definitely employs jazz and rock. I mean, I know they've been called yacht rock. I don't really classify them as yacht rock. I think they're a little bit more broad spectrum than that. So glad to finally add this one to the collection. This is Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage. Obviously a Blue Note reissue, because if this was a Blue Note original, I wouldn't be sitting here in a cheap old white t-shirt. Anyway, who's who on this one? Freddie Hubbard, Anthony Williams, obviously Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, George Coleman. These Blue Note reissues, kids, I'm telling you, if you want to add great jazz to your collection for a minimal price, jump on these on Amazon. If they're under $12, go. I got this one for 10 and change, and I couldn't have been happier with it. Absolutely fantastic album, front to back. I think the day it came in, I spun it like 3 times straight. So great album. So this one, there is a big, what do you call a flea market? I guess it is technically a flea market, but they have like permanent shops there, and then they have the tables that you can rent. Pardon me, if you're like a weekend vendor or stuff like that. And they have food stuff, and they have farmers market stuff, all in one. And they're not open during the week, only open on the weekends. And there's a record shop there that's kind of a permanent venue. And family and I took a trip up there a few weeks ago, and I picked up a few things. So Again, I'm so far behind on everything. Hopefully I can start cranking out some of these videos. But I finally got a copy of this one clean. I'd seen this once before in the wild, and it was beat. And it's Adam and Ants. Absolutely love this album. This is Kings of the Wild Frontier. Would have loved to do a needle drop of Ant music, but again, the no fun people at YouTube have said, no, we can't do that because playing music is naughty, and apparently we can now have the dance, and it's all just evil. Anyway, and I'm done with my rant. Obviously, Adam and Ants became Adam Ant as he gained in popularity, but a strong musician in his own right and a strong songwriter. Definitely in that post-punk, that synth pop era that he got to really grow into with songs like Goody Two Shoes and stuff like that. So glad to add some Adam Ant to them, some more Adam and the Ants. So really happy to find that one. We'll save that one. We'll go with this one. So it's Moby Grape, because you see the grapes, and this is Wow. So this was their follow-up to their debut with the finger. Where the hell did I get this one from? I really don't remember now. Who cares? It wasn't in the best of shapes, but I took a chance on it. It is, for all my research, this is an early 2i. And what's really fun about it, kids, is if you're not paying attention, because I mean, we know Moby Grape, they're blues psych. If you're not paying attention, as one might not be in the late 60s, due to some sort of chemically induced state, you're in for a surprise. Because the last song on side 1 is actually pressed at 78 speed. So you're listening to the album, having a good old time, and all of a sudden, you're going to be really tripped out. Unfortunately, my turntable doesn't do 78s, so I've got another one. It's kind of like a all-in-one bookshelf. I got that set up. Just for forever find cool 78s, I like to have it set up, so I like to listen to it at that. I tried to listen to the whole thing at the 33 speed for a 78 press, and I was like, I am not medically induced enough for this particular experiment. But good album. This is actually, when it first came out, it was actually a 2-record set, and it was this. It was, it was Moby Grape's Wow gatefold, and it was also shrink wrapped with Grape Jam. So they consider that Wow and Grape Jam their second album. Obviously, I'm holding Wow. I would like to get a cleaner copy of this at some point, but I would also like to find Grape Jam to kind of conclude it. But if you're a Moby Grape fan, definitely worth picking up. Great stuff. So I got 3 more. Man, that needle drops, I'm flying. Duran Duran. This is their 4th major release. They had a live album that came out in that time frame. This is obviously Duran Duran's Notorious. This is an interesting album for me because this is when I begin to not like them so much. And they lost me for quite some time. In fact, it was, 93, 92? The one that's officially called the Wedding Album. That's when they won me back. That was a great album. This one, obviously they're down to a 3-piece. Andy Taylor's left the band because side projects, things like Power Station and Arcadia, Andy Taylor liked the spotlight. He was living the glitz and glamour world. And so just being a part of the band just didn't fit into his mold. And they tried, didn't work, and he took off. Down to 3 they go. There was just a lot of turmoil with this one. Even though Notorious was a huge hit for him, I mean, smash. I felt this album was too poppy, right? Too poppy for Duran Duran. You go back and you listen to their debut with things like Girls on Film, or you go even listen to Rio. Seven and a Ragged Tiger, kind of, but this is leaps and bounds more of that FM pop station of the 80s than any of the other three. They just seem like they picked up the singles from it, but there were still deep cuts, still had a hand in the post-punk, it still had a hand in the synth new wave sound. But this one, to me, they kind of really went straight on pop. Not that that's bad, but to me, of those first four, I rank this a distant fourth. Glad to Have It. It's a club press. In case you're wondering what the hell that was. Glad to Have It. Don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't be a go-to of mine of those early Duran Duran albums. So. This is Ahmad Jamal. This is actually Ahmad Jamal Volume 4. So, Ahmad Jamal, I don't remember his real name, but I know this isn't his birth name. He converted to Islam in his early 20s. It's not going to come to me. Anyway, so he, piano player, started learning at a younger age. He really has an affinity for the smaller groups. He preferred a trio, would play a quartet at times, from my understanding, from what I've seen, but really preferred the trio. And he recorded a couple albums before he got with Argo. And Argo, I think, is where he really took off, because Argo was where he recorded But Not For Me, and I have that. And that's the one where he did, I think it was the first appearance he did of his classics on Poinciana, or what he made his own, and that became a staple for Ahmad Jamal. So if you like piano jazz, some of it is got a hand in the bop, some of it's got a little bit more of a down, like cool jazz, almost. Definitely worth picking up, and you can find Ahmad Jamal usually fairly cheap, and these old Argo presses, they hold up. This one's a little noisy for me at times, but for what I paid for it, I can't be mad at it, and it is really worth picking up a copy. It's a live recording from, surprisingly, Washington, D.C. It was recorded in September 1958. I say surprisingly because if you pay attention, I'm from the D.C. metro area. That's where I grew up. So was glad to pick that one up. Like I said, it's a little weathered, but it'll still hold me. I would love to find a mint copy of this one, as I would with any of the Argo Ahmad Jamal era, because I think that was just stellar stuff. So, okay, one more. And if you know me, you know I am a huge guy. No, I'm a huge Jimi Hendrix fan. I no shame in my game, right? Excuse me, I need a drink. Cheers, everybody. Drinking the old, I am available for commercials if the Diet Pepsi company is looking for a horribly disfigured fat guy who is hard on the eyes. Jimi Hendrix is freedom. So this is one of the many reissues or issues from the Experience Hendrix family, the Experience Hendrix label, and they press everything on QRP, which, if you've never experienced QRP, quality. So this is the Atlanta Pop Festival, and this was July 4th, 1970. To me, this has been captured on film. It's been talked about. But to me, to have it on vinyl was just absolutely a no-brainer to pick up. The nice thing about all of these Experience Hendrix issues is that they spare no expense. And let me tell you, and for those of you out there who are thinking, Jimi Hendrix has a huge catalog. He does. A lot of it's live. Oh, be careful. A lot of it is the same damn thing reissued 57 different ways. Especially some of the stuff that he did kind of in the Chitlin circuit. So be careful if you're going to jump into Hendrix, but that's another story for another day. And one of these years, I'll do a whole thing on Hendrix, but that's not going to be for a while. But anyway, so when you see, it's right here, the Experience Hendrix, see if I can really get in on that. It's not going to focus, but it's the Experience Hendrix logo. All vinyl is pressed through QRP. Top-notch stuff. They really do a great job with just the build of the jacket. Really let some of the imagery that they're giving you work for it. Every one of these things has gotten a wonderfully put together book story of what was being recorded at the time. So this talks about Atlanta pop, talks about what was going on. You get some great pictures from the show. Some of them not safe for smaller eyes. So you really get this quality put together product. And when you get the LPs, they're already in the MoFi sleeves, which everybody loves. It's quality stuff. 180 gram vinyl through QRP. Just absolutely gorgeous packaging, gorgeous pressings, dead quiet. Highly recommend if you're picking up Hendrix and you don't care about first presses or things like that, but you want it clean, go ahead and buy the reissues. I'm telling you, you will not be sorry. So this one, like I said, recorded July 4th, 1970. So this would have been a couple months before he died. So on this one, you have pretty much just about anything I would look for in a live set from Hendrix. You have Fire, Loverman, Spanish Castle Magic, Red House, so you do get some of that classic blues. Room Full of Mirrors, Hear My Train to Come, in another classic blues tune. Message of Love. Side 3, you get All Along the Watchtower, which they even go in to say that they do some splicing to preserve the entire recording of the show, so to speak. So there was a slight mishap with the mastering, or something with the original recording. So they splice in one of the best ones that they can find to kind of keep the continuity of it, which I think is pretty cool. Freedom, Foxy Lady, Purple Haze, and Hey Joe. And then you really get into the classic Hendrix here. Side 4, you get Voodoo Child, Slight Return. Stone Free, he does the Star Spangled Banner, which is really cool because at that point they're shooting off fireworks, so you're hearing the pops and explosions of the fireworks, and then closes out with Straight Ahead. To me, this is just a fantastic capture. This was a great look of where Hendrix was, and possibly where he was going. So we had gotten to see that earlier in the year with, if you are familiar with the recordings that got to be known as called the Band of Gypsies, that was recorded in December 31st, 1969, January 1st, 1970 at the Fillmore East, which was later released as a bigger set as Live at the Fillmore East. If you don't have either one of those, or you are a Hendrix guy like me, do not fret. This is when I tell you to walk or run, do not walk, and pre-order this. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to spring for this one. They are releasing an 8 LP or 5 CD set of his shows at Fillmore. He did 2 shows on New Year's Eve and 2 shows on New Year's Day, an early show and a late show. And this is every recorded moment. It's been completely remastered. It's available for pre-order now. I think Amazon has it sitting right now about $101 on wax. Do yourself a favor. It's going to be one you want to check out. I've had bootlegs of that in the past on CD where people have spliced together every moment. And let me tell you, the entire show, all four, like I said, early and late, amazing stuff. You get to see like a peek into where he was headed in a whole new direction. And with everything going on, you get all your Hendrix staples. One of my favorite live songs, Machine Gun, is on there, I think, at least twice. Totally worth it, excuse me. So that's what I got, kids. Again, I'm going to leave a link to Eve's channel, Miss Lady Soul. She's real close to 200. Let's get her up and over on that. Lots of contests going on. I'm trying to keep them all straight. I've got so many records to show. I can do these all freaking week, and I wish I had time. Unfortunately, work is super crazy. It's supposed to be slow, but you know what? I'm thankful because we just had to lay some people off because of a merger, and you know, I'm thankful that it wasn't had anything that affected us. So pick up the work as we can. We keep going, and there it is. So hopefully everybody had a wonderful October and Halloween. We're heading into the crazy season, so hopefully everybody's well. That's all I got. We'll talk soon, everybody. Please be safe. Peace.